Not exactly what you came looking for, right?
No, but I told Tom, come over, look at him. And we took him into the bonding room. That was it.
That was it. Yes.
So all my ideas just went out the window.
That's usually how it happens, believe it or not.
Let's talk about the history of Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter.
Sure.
How did you get started?
Me personally, I got started 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, 20 years ago when I worked for the Record Herald, believe it or not. And my editor there, her husband was the executive director of the Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter. And I had taken off for other areas, other places, and I just happened to be looking for a job. And she said, well, hey, my husband's the executive director. They're looking for somebody to do PR, public relations and stuff. Why don't you look into that? The rest, as they say, is history. And here we are 20 years later, still working for those four-legged babies.
I had heard through the grapevine that you were a writer in your past because I commented to Pat Fridgen, in fact, and you probably know her daughter, Noelle Fridgen,
yes,
who's the marketing director, your counterpart,
right.
in Washington County, Maryland.
Right.
Well, I mentioned to Pat, I said, boy, she's a good writer. And she said, she was a journalist in a past life. I said,
yes, I was.
I can see that.
Yes, I was. I used to work for the Record Herald. That's right.
So how about the organization itself? When did it start?
It actually started very, very grassroots in the 70s. And by grassroots, I mean there was a post office box and people would send letters to the post office box saying, I have X amount of kittens in my garage that I need to find a home for. And the volunteers at that point in time, they would network within themselves and they would find homes for these animals. So it was literally a post office box and a grassroots effort. And then they built a building out on Country Road. It was in Harrisburg's hands at one point in time, and then everybody kind of gathered and got back together to pull it back into our hands, and then they expanded that building, and then we moved to Leonard County. It was a very rich history of helping animals here in the northern part of Franklin County, for sure.
I had Casey Morrell on, the executive director of the Antietam Humane Society.
Oh, yeah, she's awesome. I met her.
I was talking with her, and I was talking about the Humane Society of the United States, and she was looking at me kind of with wide eyes, and I'm going, okay, is there not an umbrella organization for Humane Society of the United States? And she said no, that anybody can apparently call themselves a humane society if they wish to do so.
Yes, you can, but I would sincerely suggest that you have a 501c3 nonprofit status in order to do that. It makes you a little bit more legit in the eyes of pretty much everyone.
Yeah,
And that
Antietam does.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And so that is a very interesting point that HSUS and the ASPCA, we are not affiliated. We are a private nonprofit organization, which means none of the monies that you give to HSUS or ASPCA come to us. So I think that's also important for people to realize and to understand. And it's part of the reason a lot of times when I suggest to people, if you are going to give, certainly give to the national organizations. I'm not saying don't, but give to your local charities, give to your local cancer societies, give to your local animal shelters, give to your local United Way, all of the nonprofits. We're all in the same battle here. We're just fighting different aspects of it, and Antietam and us and Better Days and Washington County and Maryland, we're all in the same fight. So give wherever you can give, adopt wherever you can adopt, and keep it local helps tremendously because those national dollars don't always trickle down.
And you're an animal shelter.
Yes.
Now, back in about 40-some years ago, I worked for the Humane Society of Forsyth County, North Carolina, which is where Winston-Salem is.
Okay.
This was 1978 that I started. We were definitely a grassroots, like you're talking about. We were a clearinghouse.
Oh, yeah.
We actually had an office, but we had no animals that we kept on site. We had foster home, and we matched people up with those animals. That's what we did at that time. Now, they went on to build cages and shelters and all the thing that they needed. But we had also the animal shelter of Forsyth County.
Oh.
That was a government-funded shelter. But that was also animal control. Those men who worked for animal control, now this is a county of about 300,000 in population at the time. They wore guns on their hips. They were deputy sheriffs.
Sure.
Whole different ballgame.
Absolutely.
It was a kill shelter. I became the cruelty investigator for the Humane Society.
Wow. Good for you.
Well, it wasn't, believe me, in the late 70s, anybody who said they would do it could do it.
Sure. And I know how hard that job is, to bless your heart on that one, yeah.
I trained with the animal shelter control officers, and I will tell you, it was June. Cage after cage after cage of kittens and cats were piled up right by the gas chambers.
Oh, gosh.
I was raised on a farm in the 50s and the 60s. Very different time. Attitudes were very different, and farm girls, we are not the ones. I know you'll love this. I know you've heard it. Little old ladies in tennis shoes who think every cat has to live. That is not what a girl who was raised on a farm is like.
Right.
So that's why it made it a little bit easier for me.
Sure.
That time, North Carolina still allowed puppies, kittens, all kinds of critters to be sold in pet stores.
Okay.
So I used to have to inspect the pet stores.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you sleep? You must have worked like 24 hours a day, practically.
Yes, I did. And we were in a big city. Difficult, dangerous areas.
Yeah.
I didn't go to all of them. And I would send animal control to them if I think it was just too dangerous for me to go there by myself.
Smart.
But it was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started from grassroots. How much space do you have? How many critters can you hold at one time?
We usually go more than we should. So I'm going to say we could probably hold 75 dogs, and we have definitely gone over 200 cats, especially in the summertime. Yeah, especially in the summer. And I mean, that's like cats in my office, cats in the executive director's office, cats in the laundry room, cats in the grooming room, cats in the behavior room, cats. Just literally anywhere you can put cats, we put cats. So
I read somewhere, maybe it was you that wrote it, that you foster dogs. Do you foster cats? I know you foster kittens.
We primarily actually foster cats and kittens. The dogs are only if they're seriously injured or if they need real serious socialization. So it's mostly mamas and kittens that we foster. So yeah, the dogs we've had fosters of like broken legs and things like that to get them recuperated in a home. But our foster parents will probably hear, well, we're still a couple months out, but probably around April or May. Get over here. We've got too many. We've got a mom now that just came in. Come on. And they'll get those Paul Revere calls that I call them, like, Minutemen. Come get them.
The adoption process. Let's talk about that a little bit. I know you have to fill out a form, and you have probably references. No.
We actually don't. Our adoption process is relatively simple. Yeah.
Okay, I must have filled out a form for someone else.
And it may have been a while back. We did a while back. There was probably references, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they fill out a form. And what takes place after that?
We do basically an investigation, and we look into if you have pets, are they up to date? We look if you own your home, and if you don't, we need to talk to your landlord. We actually do, I will admit this on the radio, a criminal background check, because our theory is, and a lot of people, one, prove why we think this or get mad at us for this, and two, we believe if you have a history of harassment, any kind of anger management issues, anything like that, we have to ask, what are you going to do if you come home from a long day of work and there's a mess left by the dog on your living room rug? And so this is not like 20 years ago you did one dumb thing and it's going to haunt. No. But if we look into your background and there is one after the other of something that speaks to serious anger management issues, yeah, we're going to be like, maybe not the best option for you. Because I think animals are very unpredictable. Yeah, you can't. There is no such thing as a calendar pet. You can take gorgeous pictures of them, but they are all. Yeah, if you want one that's not going to make a mess, get a stuffed one. That's my advice to you, because that's the only one I can guarantee that's not going to make a mess.
You get plenty of animals yourself in this county. Do you ever bring in animals from other shelters in other places?
In severe situations, we have in the past, but it's been relatively rare. And if it is like please, oh my word, help us. And if we have the room, that's the other big issue. So mid-July, no, we can't take your cat. You know what I mean? Like we're not pulling cats in from different areas. I promise you that. A few years ago, there was a situation where I lost track of how many poodles there were, but they actually put them in the farm show complex in Harrisburg, and animal shelters and rescues came from all over, and we ended up with 5 of them, I believe. So if we have the space, if we have the room, we will help, but we don't go seek out animals. We don't have to. We get more than enough from northern Franklin County.
Our son and his family, they live in Rockville, Maryland. Mm-hmm. They just have adopted, I mean, literally within the last 10 days.
Oh, okay.
They adopted a dog. And they got it through a Montgomery County new adoption service called Petey and Furens. Furends.
That's so adorable.
It's 3 women who have started a clearinghouse.
Oh, wow. Good.
But they specialize in bringing dogs from rural areas of other states that are in the case of the dog that our son and his family got, it was in a kill shelter. They have no cages or anything like that. The animals that they bring in from other states are fostered, and then you adopt them via the foster home. These women just started this program now in 2020.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Wow.
My son and his family had a lot of help because they were novice dog owners.
Okay.
Kyle, our son, has never had a dog.
Okay.
Our daughter-in-law grew up with dogs, but she wasn't responsible for them.
Sure.
So they had somebody who was counseling them, going them through the process and talking about their family, their situation, their house, their yard, etc. And they searched for the right dog for them.
Wow. Oh, that's very cool.
Yes.
That's very cool.
And now they're required to work with a trainer.
Oh, wow.
Our daughter-in-law said she filled out numerous forms. But this Petey and Furens really worked out very, very well for them.
Good. That's fantastic. There are so many groups out there who are helping. You spoke earlier about times being different back in the day, and they were different when I was a kid. We had a dog in a hut outside, and I look back on that and think, oh, my land. Totally different nowadays. Animal welfare is more out there. These animals have feelings. They can feel. So let's think about what their lives are like, and it really is amazing how many groups are stepping up to help.
They got a hound mix.
Oh, no. Does the hound howl?
They haven't said anything about him baying or howling yet, but he's a Plott hound, foxhound mix.
Oh, my goodness.
Plott hounds are the state dog of North Carolina. They were bred in the Blue Ridge Mountains to hunt anything from coons to bears. But he was very quiet for the first week or so. I don't know what his life had been like in North Carolina. The fact that he was a very good-looking dog and a young dog. And he ended up in a kill shelter. I don't know, but he was very quiet. He slept a lot. And then Kyle said about 2 or 3 days ago, he must have decided that he was fine where he was.
Oh, boy.
He felt safe.
Oh, boy.
And he decided to get mischievous.
How old is he?
They think 1 to 3.
Oh, boy.
55 pounds.
Oh, double boy. Okay.
Well, our daughter-in-law says he likes to help her when she's baking cookies. Now, our daughter-in-law is 5 feet tall if you stretch her. I have a feeling that dog, if he stands up, he is taller than she is. It's funny. She wanted a female dog. She wasn't having none of these male dogs around. And our son wanted a 40-pound at the most dog.
Oops.
See?
Oops.
See how it works out.
That's so
but
funny.
He is glorious.
That's wonderful.
Kyle says when he walks him, but if he sees a raccoon.
Oh, I bet.
But that training, I said, well, he's going to have to figure out. And with a hound, it's difficult.
Oh, my, yes.
He's going to have to learn that the one holding the other end of the leash is in charge.
You got it.
Not me.
You got it.
So my daughter-in-law said she took him one day, and he dove into that bush. All of a sudden, he came out with a piece of pizza, and he ate it in one gulp.
Oh, my word. They need a reality show. I can sell it.
Okay, tell me, what are your adoption fees? That's another thing we need to know.
Sure. Our adoption fees, so for an adult dog, and we consider an adult dog 6 months and older, they are $110, and our puppies 6 months and younger are $125. Our senior dogs 6 years and older are $52, whatever half of 110 is, $52.50, I believe, and then our long-term residents, dogs that have been there a long time, are also $52.50, and that includes spaying and neutering, that includes microchip, that includes their first round of vaccinations, injections, and that includes being treated for fleas, ear mites, ticks, and all that good stuff. So it's a bargain.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it
you
is.
slice it, it's a bargain. Yes,
It is.
And our cats, our kittens, 6 months and younger, are $85, and 6 months and older are whatever you want to give. It's a donation from your heart because we have so doggone, no pun intended, many of them, and we want desperately to find, especially the older ones, homes. So whatever you'd like to donate.
What can the public do to help you?
Okay, we have so many groups that help us and so many people that help us. So right now, because of the situation we're in with COVID, our fundraisers are really, we don't, yeah. So look, nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't know what the future holds. I can only tell you that 2020, the majority of our fundraisers didn't happen. And so far in the beginning of 2021, they're not happening. I just can't do it. I can't risk my volunteers. I can't risk the staff. I just can't do it. So anyway, if you want to help, there are groups. I've had a lot of Girl Scout organizations, Boy Scout organizations that actually do donation drives for us. We have a wish list up on our website, so if you wanted to get us supplies, that would help directly. And you can get the food and the toys and the good stuff for the animals, and that goes directly to them. We do have on our website a donation button, PayPal. You can donate anytime that you would like. And we have on our website the pictures of the animals up for adoption. Get those out any way you can. Let people know, show them the pictures, say, I know you're looking, why don't you take a look at this, fill out the application, you can come in. We call it cat shopping. So adopt. If you can't adopt, please donate. If you can't donate, how about a donation drive for us? Those are great ways to help us.
What type of fundraising events did you do pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, we had spaghetti dinner, we had dog walk, we had a 5K run, we had a carnival. We had, obviously, the downtown festivals in Chambersburg. We had a Christmas open house. We had Santa there and all this. Oh, a music festival. This would be the time when I would be yammering about the spaghetti dinner, but it's been really difficult. It's been tough. We've been trying to tweak our fundraisers because of that and just think outside the box. How can we do this? How can we get the word out? How can we help people? And I have to say, Facebook has been absolutely phenomenal. We had a virtual dog walk in October 2020, and we made it virtual. We were scared to death because we were like, how are we going to do a virtual dog walk? $8,000. It was the best dog walk we've ever had, and it was a virtual dog walk that didn't actually physically happen. But the folks on Facebook said, I'm walking my dog, I'm doing this every other day, I'm taking video, I'm taking pictures, I'm doing this. One girl raised $1,600 on Facebook alone. Yeah. So huge thanks to Facebook. It's been unbelievable. So in that respect, we've been trying to tweak it. We've been trying to kind of like, what can we do? What new ways can we work this and help this? And people have been amazing. We adopted almost 700 animals in 2020. So God love them. Yes, it's been insane because we haven't had our fundraisers, but in other respects, nothing's really changed. The people are still coming out. They're still adopting. They know we're here, and they're still helping us. And I'm telling you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody.
Now, that was true across the nation, that especially as COVID began, and nobody knew how long it was going to last, but the animals were being adopted, especially dogs. There were shelters that had absolutely empty cages.
And we are struggling with that, too, with our dogs, particularly. As people come in and you're like, are you kidding? And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. They're getting adopted. We do not have that many dogs, and we haven't actually for a while now. I think that it's because people were at home. Instead of working in an office, they're working at home. And so they think, well, yeah, I can train a dog because I'm at home. You know what I mean? So that could be part of it. And then, of course, we've had the warning that when, I'm not saying if, when this is gone, and you do go back to work, keep an eye out for separation anxiety. This is going to be different for your animals, too, that you adopted during this year. I'm serious. I'm so grateful. We were scared when I first started because how are we going to keep everybody safe? And we knew the animals were going to keep coming in. We had to get them back out. So we had to figure out how to do this. And as is the way, the community stepped up and helped us.
So how do we get this cat problem under control? Back in the 70s, when I was working for the Humane Society, we had the same issue about attitudes about people having their animals, and I don't care cat or dog, but cats seem to be the big problem.
All the cats are rabbits, baby. They're out there having fun all the time. Doing vodka shots and bringing us the kittens. That's what I say. Probably shouldn't be on the radio, but that's what here I am.
But this attitude, and I was living in a big city where there were a lot of very well-educated people, and plenty of them had their animals spayed and neutered, their whatever critters they had. But yeah, that thing, it'll hurt them.
Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy?
You think giving birth?
Right.
Probably a man says that. You're giving birth?
He's a walking The ferals, yes, that don't come near people, but yet they are still perfectly capable of populating the species. So they work very, very hard to get the ferals spayed and neutered. And they're people that I don't see because a cat walks up to their backyard and they're like, "Well, hi, baby," and they pull the cat in. They take care of the cat. They spay and neuter the cat, and they keep the cat for life. And the cat never ends up at the animal shelter, so I never see them. So thank you to everybody who does that. And I really do think there was a town. I read this. It was a long time ago now because 20 years. But anyway, it was a long time ago, and there was a town in New England somewhere that passed an ordinance that said as long as your animals are not used for breeding purposes, they have to be spayed or neutered. It's the law. They have to be spayed or neutered. And the animal shelters emptied out. They actually started calling down here saying, "Do you have any animals for us? Because we don't have any." So the key here is spaying and neutering. But everybody has to do it. So it can't be, like you said, the little old lady in tennis shoes going, "Poor kitty," and pours kibble in the front porch. But if they're out making kittens, and anybody who's fed one cat knows you're going to get a whole lot more. Because
I love how the attitude is, if I feed them, they'll go away.
Right? How does that? Because guess what? You feed me, I'm coming back. Give me a Stromboli. I'll be back next week. Oh, my mother loves when I'm on these shows because she just disowns me at that point.
We have talked about the animal shelter. We know that the cats all need to get spayed and neutered, but we are going to talk about Jennifer's book. Now, it is called "It Began at the Animal Shelter, a collection of columns from my first few years at a nonprofit organization" by Jennifer Vanderau. I got my copy via Amazon. Is there a way to buy local and get this book?
Yes, I have them at the thrift store and I have them at the shelter, but they have gone quicker than I thought they were going to go. I will most definitely have them by the end of January because I got a bigger bunch at the thrift store and at the animal shelter. So you can definitely get them at our thrift store, 66 South Main Street in Chambersburg, or at the shelter on Letterkenny Road West in Chambersburg as well. Kindle and Amazon for hard copies. Sorry, the paperback.
Okay, at your thrift store, at the shelter itself, at Amazon, and it's either a Kindle or trade paperback.
Yes.
Trade paperback. That's what size this is. And I have just finished it. It is wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Your book is great.
Thank you.
And those columns that you write in the Echo Pilot, I clip and save and read them to my grandchildren.
Oh, bless your heart. I do remember that email you sent me where you said that. Yes. That got me.
Tell me about your cats, you crazy cat woman.
My cats are nuts. Yes, they are. I don't know what it would be like to come home to an empty house.
And how many do you have?
Oh, boy. This is where my mother turns the radio off. Technically 9. They have the whole house. They have the run of the whole house. So it's like,
now, you do have a house now.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's not like a tiny little, no.
Not the apartment
Not
that
the
you
apartment
once had.
anymore. No, it's not the apartment anymore. No.
Okay.
But even when I had the apartment, there were too many in there. But anyway, no. But they're good babies, but they're crazy babies, and they keep me hopping. And the one boy, my one newest boy, if he had opposable thumbs, we would all be in human slave colonies run by him, because he is one of those cats that is actually scary smart. Like, he watches out at the one window, sees the squirrel coming up the sidewalk, and knows where to go in the house to follow that squirrel the whole way up the sidewalk to the front of the house. And it just, it's such a fascinating life, though, having so many crazy cats.
Now, you come from a dog family.
My parents, yes. We grew up with dogs, but we also did grow up with cats. My dad has a nursery, a plant nursery, so we always had cats growing up. My sister actually could tell you, like, the family hierarchy of every cat. This one was this one's mother, and that sister, and this and that. She has I think she has cat DNA in her. But so we did have cats, but we also mainly had dogs, certainly in the house. Well, thankfully, my landlord says I'm not allowed to have dogs, otherwise it would be a circus.
Oh, you rent this house?
Yes.
You have a landlord from heaven,
I know.
I'll tell you.
They love cats, too, so I'm very lucky for that one. Otherwise, yeah, it would be bad. But they're my babies, and my Bengal cat, she's at the Rainbow Bridge waiting for me, but she was the one. She would jump on my stomach at 3 a.m, and she would go to the top of the dresser beside the bed and just leap off at 3 a.m. And you'd look at her and she'd give that little trill, and you'd be like, "Well, hi, Dee Dee. How are you?" So, yeah, life with cats. It's a definite special existence.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks to Jennifer Vanderau of the Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter. Jen, you know I will have you back again.
Oh, I'd love to.
Listeners, please join me next week. I'll have another new guest. See you then. Thank you for listening to Around Your Community. WRGG is dedicated to bringing you information on the nonprofits that serve Greencastle, Antrim, and southern Franklin County. WRGG, we are GA.
Have you seen that new building south of Greencastle? The tall one, right off Interstate 81 near Sheets? Have you wondered what that building is? That building is WellSpan Greencastle Health Center. It's now open and offers comprehensive health services for residents of Greencastle and Washington County. WellSpan Health, formerly Summit Health, is well positioned to care for you and your family by expanding the services you need so you don't have to travel for the care you deserve. WellSpan Greencastle Health Center offers urgent care for unexpected injury or illness, primary care for regular needs, and advanced specialty care right here where you need it, including women's services, imaging, bone health, urology, and physical therapy in the Paul and Anna Shockey Rehabilitation Center. For more details on the WellSpan Greencastle Health Center and other WellSpan services available in Greencastle, visit summithealth.org/Greencastle. WellSpan Health, formerly Summit Health.
Serving the Greencastle Antrim community. We are WRGG LP Greencastle.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. New York's health commissioner is pushing back on today's report alleging coronavirus data was misrepresented. Dr. Howard Zucker takes issue with the notion that any deaths were undercounted, saying the state has always characterized hospital deaths as their own category. Attorney General Letitia James has released a report claiming the Cuomo's administration failed to properly disclose how many of the state's coronavirus deaths happened in nursing homes. Numerous states are still playing catch up when it comes to coronavirus vaccines. The CDC says 16 states have yet to administer at least 50% of the shots they've received. The White House is not interested in splitting up President Biden's sweeping coronavirus stimulus package into smaller bills. Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
We are not going to put ourselves in a place or anyone in a place where we're choosing between helping families to put food on the table or getting a vaccine in the arms of Americans.
I'm Brian Shook.
Since 1984, Greencastle Eye Care Center has been the leader of quality vision care using state-of-the-art diagnostic technology, providing personalized optometric services, and the best quality optical products to their patients in Greencastle. The experienced optometrists offer comprehensive eye exams, specializing in the diagnosis and treatment of eye disease, and fit many different types of contact lenses. Greencastle Eye Care Center participates with many insurances and are always accepting new patients. You may schedule an appointment by calling 717-597-7708. The office of the Greencastle Eye Care Center is located in the John Grove Medical Center on Eastern Avenue. Greencastle Eye Care Center, a much appreciated supporter of WRGG.
Gano Paving Incorporated, locally owned and operated for over 48 years, offers commercial and residential paving, commercial and residential seal coating, plus line striping, excavating, and utility work. Licensed in Pennsylvania and Maryland, you may call Gano Paving at 717-597-2567 to make an appointment for a free estimate. Check their website. Follow them on Facebook. A proud sponsor of WRGG. Gano Paving is located at 1455 Buchanan Trail West, Greencastle, Pennsylvania.
WRGG 93.7 is your not-for-profit community radio station. Radio personalities are volunteers. However, there are still expenses to run the radio station. When making donations, in honor of, in memory of, or congratulations gifts, please consider WRGG in your community giving. You can mail or hand deliver your donation to WRGG at 113 South Carlisle Street, Greencastle, PA. Thank you for your listenership and support.
WRGG weather. Now the weather forecast for WRGG. Clear skies, temperatures in the low 20s overnight. Partly cloudy on Friday, the high 30. Clear skies Friday night, middle teens. Saturday mostly sunny, the high 32. Increasing clouds Saturday night, the low 21. Snow developing late Sunday, less than 2 inches of accumulation, the high 32. For WRGG, I'm nowcast meteorologist Chad Merrill.
Live from the studios of WRGG 93.7 FM in downtown Greencastle, Mid Penn Broadcasting presents Chalk Talk. On air at WRGG 93.7 FM and online at WRGG.org and MidPennBroadcasting.com. This is Chalk Talk, a program dedicated to Franklin County High School sports. Now, here's Gary Klein and John Freeman.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Chalk Talk for this Thursday night, almost to the end of January 28th. As we are in the midst of the high school winter season. And we're almost halfway through, as a matter of fact. And the season ends here in less than a month, officially, if it actually ends at that time. And John and I will be here, and Gottwalls will be joining us at 8 o'clock tonight. And on this cold, frigid night, 24 degrees outside in Greencastle.
Finally feels like winter.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'd like the feel before this, though.
Yeah, when I just said, it officially feels as though the winter sports season is here. It's you get out of the car and you get hit by that wind and that cold, and nothing like January in Pennsylvania.
Yes, indeed. You don't know what to expect, but it could get bitterly cold.
It does.
There's no question. So far, it's been good. So, who knows what's coming. March sometimes can seem to be a pretty iffy month. You could get a lot of snow and cold weather into March.
Yeah, we've certainly seen it. So, we'll just keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we can get through the next couple months and get to spring and enjoy some warm weather.
Yes, finally. And enjoy the crack of the bat.
Yeah, there you go.
We mentioned the basketball season, and as I look here at these early season, close to mid-season standings, on the boys' side of things, the top 5 AAA schools are Northern, Shippensburg, and Greencastle, all Mid Penn Colonial Division teams. And 2 of those play tomorrow night, the Shippensburg Greyhounds and the Greencastle Antrim Blue Devils, both at 5-1. Big game tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season. I mean, if you look a little further down the power rankings, in 5A, Big Spring is number 8. So you have 4 Colonial Division teams in the top 8, including the top 3. Northern, Ship, and Greencastle. Yeah, the Blue Devils play Shippensburg on, this is Thursday, I guess.
Tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night. Again, it's kind of like last Friday, back-to-back Fridays for Greencastle, playing not only 2 of the top teams in the Colonial Division, probably 2 of the top teams in District 3 in the 5A classification in Northern and also in Shippensburg. And it's another measuring stick game for Greencastle. We said that last week about Northern York, when Northern York came down to Greencastle and played last Friday. Greencastle performed well in the first quarter. They led by a point late in the first quarter. Northern kind of took control from there, and I think they had a double-digit halftime lead and just kind of cruised through the second half, won by 23 over Greencastle. But that first quarter should give them a little bit of confidence. They can hang with a high-quality team like Northern. They get another chance tomorrow against Shippensburg. Shippensburg is one of those teams that came into the season. I think a lot of people were pegging them as maybe the favorite in District 3 in the 5A. Shippensburg has had some injury issues. Colin Taylor has been out most of the season. I want to say Jeremy. There's another player. Jeremy Thomas, I think, is the other player.
Yeah,
that's missed a lot of time for Shippensburg. That's unfortunate. It's part of the game. Injuries, illnesses, especially this crazy time we're going through now. But Shippensburg has performed well. They're still 5-1. They're still ranked number 2. In District 3, and they're still an outstanding team, even missing, 2 starters. So, again, it's, going to be another uphill climb for Greencastle. Again, it's a chance for them to go out and kind of introduce themselves to the rest of the district. If they can, put up a tough battle against Shippensburg, maybe pull off the upset, they can kind of set themselves up for a very strong rest of the 2021 season. Obviously at 5-1, 1/3 of the way through the season, they have to be very thrilled with what they've accomplished so far. I know coming into the season, we kind of looked at them and said, they're a playoff team, maybe kind of a lower end of the playoffs, 13, 14, 15 seeds, somewhere in that range. But, you're sitting 5-1 where they are, and with the schedule that they have coming up over the next month, a home first-round game is not out of the question at all for this Greencastle team. So, really, when you think about it and you look at that schedule the rest of the way, there's, really only 2 games I think you look at where you would say Greencastle isn't a favorite to win, so to speak. And that would be the next time they play Northern, next time they play Shippensburg. But every other game, is winnable for Greencastle. It's primarily a Colonial Division schedule, though we did get an update today. You said about the West Perry game being canceled.
Yeah, I got that from Vicky here this afternoon. It's and there was no explanation to that, John. I'm not sure if it was COVID related or, as you mentioned when we were talking, maybe they possibly shut down. I'm not sure. But the interesting thing was this is a league game.
Right.
And usually when you see this, it says postponed.
Right.
And this one outright said canceled, which means it's not going to be made up.
Which is interesting because usually, like you said, the league games are the ones that get made up. Those are games, and especially at this, we're still have a month to go in the season. So there's plenty of opportunities to make it up. So I don't know what it is. The West Prairie boys haven't had the greatest season so far this year. They're, 1-6. I think they've lost all their Colonial Division games. I think they're averaging like 20 points, right around 20 points a game in Colonial Division games. So it hasn't been the greatest season in the world from. So I don't know what's going on, but I mean, just from a selfish Greencastle standpoint, that's a game that Greencastle would have liked to have played to pick up another win,
right?
To help boost their power rankings. But it's unfortunate. Again, we don't know what happened or why it was canceled or what's going on with the program, but. Hopefully it's nothing serious or significant or whatnot. So
and they're just coming off it, and I think it was like 62-14 to Shippensburg.
68-19.
68-19. Okay, it was really really bad. Now West Perry, and they seem to be down on both the boys and girls side. I mean, they've had some decent teams over the years at West Perry, but they seem to come and there for a short time and. It's hard to sustain anything.
I mean, that's the nature of high school sports for a lot of places.
Right.
I mean, there are some programs that are very fortunate that are constantly at a high level, but they're definitely on a downward swing right now. You look at at least their Colonial Division games. Big Spring beat them by 32. Greencastle beat them by 46. Northern York beat them 76-18. Waynesboro beat them 59-19. And like you said, Shippensburg beat them last night 68-19. So not a positive season.
No, not at all. So that'll be interesting to find out the reasoning in that. And we were talking about the division, but I think unless I'm missing my mark from everything I've seen, that Northern York is the class of the Colonial Division right now.
So far. I mean, they beat Shippensburg earlier. I think if Shippensburg can get their injured players back, they're a different team. They're a better team. I mean, they're still, like I said, they're still a very good team right now. But, if they can get Colin Taylor back, that brings another aspect of that team. It kind of takes them to that next level. So, I wouldn't hand it to Northern York just yet. They're 7-0, and they, like I said, they have a victory over Shippensburg. I think the very first game of the year, they beat them by 12 at Shippensburg. So they still have to play again. Looks like February 2nd, Shippensburg goes to Northern. So anything can happen. Shippensburg is, still a great team, and, we'll see how it goes.
Yep, it's, exactly. So it's I know here early in the early going, and I think they defeated Wadesboro by 30+ points last night.
Northern,
yes. They played
they played on the 26th.
They played last night. It would have been postponed, so it would have been last night. Yes.
68-37. Northern beat Waynesboro. I mean, you look at this Northern team. They scored over 60 points every game. They put 78 up against Greencastle. So they're a pretty special bunch.
Yeah, you better be hot if you're going to defeat Northern if they're putting up 60+ points a game.
Yeah, not only do you have to bring your A game, you have to hope they bring their C or D
game. So, right, exactly.
That probably isn't going to happen.
Yeah, and looking at the rest of the Greencastle schedule here, they could be in for a pretty decent season here if things do keep going. I guess we're close to halfway through the first round with the Colonial Division schools, but I think it was Greencastle won 5 games total the last 2 years, right? Am I right?
7 games.
7 games total.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have 5 already, and
Yeah, the only Colonial Division teams they haven't played yet this year are Shippensburg and Waynesboro. Shippensburg tomorrow, and then Waynesboro next week, and then they will have gone through the first wave of the division season. Then they'll come back and play everybody again. Yeah. But again, like I said, Waynesboro's had a pretty solid year. They're 5-1. They were another team that came into this season with a lot of questions, losing Cole Ryan. Trying to replace. He was a 20-plus point scorer, multiple assists. He ran the offense. He was the point guard. So, you had to find someone to replace him, and that's a lot of points to replace. But, so far, Waynesboro has done well. I think I take that back. I think they're 5-2 with the loss last night.
Yeah, they lost to Shippensburg and to Northern.
So, I think, they play Greencastle next week. That should be a pretty good game.
Yeah, it should be. That's going to be a tough test for the Blue Devils, no question. And for Waynesboro, and for the Indians. But, they meet for the first time, and then it's just around. And then you mentioned last week they had a tournament at the end of the season. East Pennsboro, by the way, is home at East Pennsboro. They've only played one game this year, and that's legit. I mean, their schedule is up to date with the postponements and everything. And,
right.
And they live stream on Mid Penn Broadcasting, and there has not been any basketball that we've had, since early in the season. So, and I don't know if it's them or have been, John, quite a few. If you look at the numbers, quite a few teams that have had some problems. Harrisburg's only played 2 ball games, and they've had other postponements, including the one with Chambersburg the other night.
Yeah, Chambersburg boys have had their issues.
Yeah, the Chambersburg boys have had their issues. They got, I think it's 4 games in, but they missed 4 games, which at some point they're going to have to be made up. They're all league contests, so you would think that they're going to be made up here in February at some times, but it has caused some problems, league wide. And there was a few other ones I saw. Steel High had only played 2 games.
They shut the program down. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday night. I saw a story that they were shutting the boys basketball team down for a specific period of time. Yeah. I don't think it was a COVID. I don't think they said it was a COVID issue, but they didn't really go into much detail as to what was going on.
Yeah. And it was, and they're not scheduled to play, for a few weeks yet. I think it is.
Right.
Yeah. It's well into February. So, yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't aware that they had shut the program down. So, yeah.
Yeah. They're on hiatus, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. But, you're going to try and come back and play. But, certainly a lot of things can happen between now and then. But, we'll see.
Yeah. And Bishop McDevitt, I think, was another school that only had a couple of games in. So there are issues, and it is not necessarily a COVID case. It could be just exposure to COVID that causes this. And I think that is a lot of it there. And, if you report that you were possibly exposed, the whole program has to closed down for 14 days, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, teams are going to take the conservative route.
And yes,
as they should. So if there's any potential risk for exposure or whatnot, teams are certainly going to take the safest way possible and sit out for the time they need to sit out under the PIAA guidelines. But like you said, there's still I think up until the 27th of February, I believe, is you can schedule games to count towards the power ranking. So there's still 4+ weeks to get games in, and hopefully teams have enough open dates scheduled between now and then. They can make some of these, if not all these games up. Now you run into weather problems or additional problems in the month of February. Now you start getting pushed into maybe playing 3-4 games a week, which is never easy. But I guess you're better to play 3 or 4 games a week than only get 13, 14 games in on your schedule.
Yes, it is. And although the season runs, you can run winter sports to March 27th.
Right.
For the most part, anybody that's a contender, and you basically are if you're anywhere near 500,
right,
you're going to want to get those games in prior to the district deadline.
Yeah, ideally,
Ideally, you want to. And the other problem you run into with the makeup games, John, is the availability of a gym on a particular night. Next week, Chambersburg has like 7 events during the week, and one night they have wrestling in the auxiliary gym, a basketball game in the main gym, and wrestling 2 different nights next week, back to back. So, I mean, if you're looking to make up a game, you have to find a date to do it and be able to play it on that date.
And you have to find officials, too.
And find officials. Of course. That's
the other concern.
That's the other concern. And there's going to be a lot of games that are getting backed up here. It's going to be like NBA-type schedules here for the remainder of the season for a lot of the schools, if they're going to get it in time.
Yeah, I mean, and, we saw it in the fall with, different scheduling issues and scheduling concerns. So I think, the athletic directors, are getting used to it. I don't know if they ever get used to it, but they've dealt with it before, so they understand, some of the little things they need to do to squeeze games in here and there and get things done. But yeah, we'll see. It's for the most part, it's been a pretty good winter. At least locally. I mean, it's been a great winter locally. Boys are 5-1, girls are 5-0. So can't really complain.
And speaking of more big games, there's a big game at Shippensburg tomorrow night with the Greencastle girls and the Shippensburg girls tomorrow night. And Greencastle ranked number 2 on the girls' side, Shippensburg number 3.
It's reverse of what the boys are.
Reverse. Yeah. And they're behind undefeated Gettysburg in that top spot. A team in which Shippensburg had a few opportunities to defeat and didn't do it. I watched the game that night. And it really was a close game and some missed shots. And, Ship had the lead and, they just couldn't pull it out at the end. But Ship looks outstanding this year. So
they have. I mean, the Ship girls have been very good for a number of years now. Tori Rumbaugh scored her 1,000th point. I think it was late. Was it last Friday night? I think she did that.
Yeah, I think it was last week.
Or maybe middle of the week.
Friday or
Tuesday game.
Yeah.
She's, certainly the player Greencastle, will have to look out for the most. But, the Greencastle girls, they've come on this year and, certainly exceeded, I think, what a lot of people thought they were going to do. They're undefeated through the season. They had a game Tuesday night. The boys played Boiling Springs here at home and won 49-45. The girls went to Boiling Springs. And, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with the situation at Boiling Springs, but, a number of teams, coaches opted out, and the girls basketball team was one of them that did that. So they have coaches, kind of last-minute volunteer coaches that stepped up to keep the program. And I think a number of players decided not to play. And from what I understand, there was only like 6 players that dressed for Boiling Springs on Tuesday. Greencastle, I want to say it was like 58-2 after the third quarter.
Oh, and that's ugly.
So I mean, they're having troubles up there with caused by COVID, with players not playing, coaches not coaching. So it's been a really rough year for the Boiling Springs girls. But Greencastle goes into that game tomorrow night, and again, that's one of those games. The winner of that will have the upper hand, in the Colonial, as far as winning the Colonial Division, and certainly put themselves in an outstanding spot, in the District 3 power rankings, because right now Greencastle's 3, Shippensburg's 2, and if whichever team gets that win, not only do they put themselves in the driver's seat for a Colonial Division crown, they could be very easily looking at a top 2 or 3 seed, in districts, as we move through the season,
and hosting home playoff games.
Which is big. I mean, you won't get the home crowd advantage because the fans are severely restricted, but not having to get on a bus, not having to go to an unfamiliar gym is still a nice advantage.
Right, you don't have to travel halfway across the state. In a lot of instances.
Yeah, that is true. Because when you get to District 3, we're on we're not the far western edge, JB is, but we're very close to the far western edge of District 3. And like you said, to get on a bus and ride 2+ hours to Reading or out in that area can be a bit of a challenge. So if you can get a game at home and make someone get on a bus and ride for 90 minutes, 2 hours, that certainly is a benefit to you.
Yes, it is, and and you have it. And right now, it's and the girls are certainly poised to have an outstanding season here as we go through. It looks to be, Ship and Greencastle are far and away. It looks like the top 2 in that division.
Yeah, and I don't think any of that really surprised anyone. I think they were coming into the season. I think everybody expected those 2 teams to be at the top. And I think even the preseason coaches had Shippensburg 1 and Greencastle 2. But again, I think Greencastle's really exceeded what a lot of people thought they were going to do this year. They have both the boys and the girls teams have an impact freshman that starts. With the boys, it's Connor Wright. With the girls, it's Haley Noblet. So that kind of bodes well for the future for both programs. But, you've seen a lot of the Greencastle girls step up. Sage Wilhide has just been an amazing three-point shooter for Greencastle. She's, if you give her time and give her the ability to get set and get squared up and get into a good shooting position, she's deadly from beyond the arc. Yeah. So, even inside Jenna Powell and Lauren Poole, Mia Libby on defense and, her ability to score and take the ball to the basket. It's just been a great season for them so far. And, again, same thing with the boys. In talking with Rick Lewis after the game Tuesday night, this is his fifth year coaching, and he's never had the depth on his roster that he's had this year. They go 9 deep in the game. He's able to go, that deep into his bench, which is a huge help for a coach, especially in these times with illnesses and injuries and all these other crazy things going on. To know that you can go that deep into your bench and not really lose that much ability, it really makes it nice for a coach. So it's been we're a third of the way through, I guess technically, because they played 6 games and they can schedule 18. So it's I think 6-11-1 total between the boys and girls. That's pretty good.
We'll take that, right? Anytime. Anytime. Yes. Wow. That's quite a start. Yep. Now with the girls, the schedule that I have, there's only 15 games on there.
That's possible. I really haven't looked that far. They can schedule up to 18. I think most of the non-division games, I think were canceled.
And so far they haven't had a makeup if they're even going to do a makeup at this point.
So I guess the ability's there to add up to 3 games if they want to or need to. If there's only 15 on the schedule right now, that's what they have. And I think the girls. I know in the past. You could schedule up to, I believe, was 22 games. I think the girls usually would play 20 or 21. So they've kind of had a tendency to, not schedule the full complement of games, which, it keeps your team fresh, one fewer game over the course of a season. So, I'm sure it has its benefits.
Yeah, it does. And you're right. They're usually at the 20-21 mark.
Right.
A lot of times. And I think everything but Camp Hill on their schedule is a league game.
Right.
And I think the boys were too until the East Pennsboro tournament there.
And I think we talked about this last week. It's the East Pennsboro normally schedules a Christmas tournament that Greencastle plays in, and obviously that was canceled this year. So they kind of pushed it to the last weekend where you can schedule games and still have them count for power rankings. Donegal was supposed to be the 4th team that's in that tournament. They decided not to play, so it's just going to be Greencastle, the host, East Pennsboro, and Littlestown. They're just going to get together, the 3 teams, and play kind of a round robin over the course of an afternoon into the early evening. So it'll be 3 games total. We'll play you, and we'll play you, and then you play them, and kind of like that. So Greencastle will get 2 games. I think they play back-to-back. Greencastle plays back-to-back.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Well, East Pennsboro, it's their gym, so they scheduled to play the 1st and the 3rd game. Which it's your gym, it's your tournament. You can.
Well, certainly.
The most friendly schedule. So I'm not sure if Greencastle plays first and 2nd game or 2nd and 3rd game, but they'll play back-to-back games. One against East Penn and one against Littlestown. Yep.
Okay, so. Yeah, it's an interesting to have a 3-team tournament.
And in these crazy times, you just got to do what you can to get games in.
Got to roll with the flow.
It allows you to be creative, invent new things, and off you go.
Yep, indeed. And we mentioned about low numbers, John, and unfortunately, we've spread into that twice here in the past week. With JV games that's had to be canceled in Chambersburg, CD East, and Carlisle. It was just a matter of numbers too low to be able to put a team on the floor.
It's not easy. I mean, playing with a mask. I mean, that's not fun.
No, it's not
easy. So I mean, you can understand if maybe players are opting out or however you want to phrase it. It's just what it is, and just try and get through this year, and hopefully by the time we roll around the next fall, things are somewhat normal. I don't know what normal is anymore. But,
we'll get there, so one way or the other
eventually.
I'm hoping it's more like by springtime, but that's pretty wishful thinking, I think.
I mean, I think the impact in the spring with sports will be I don't know, minimal's the right word, but I mean, you're outdoors. Baseball and softball are socially distanced sports in general. Track and field, you can modify things in track and field to where you run, instead of having 6 runners on the track, running the 100-yard dash, you can run 2 heats or 3 heats with 3 runners, in alternating lanes. So, I don't think the track and field, I don't think baseball and softball will be impacted as much by, COVID safety procedures as you see in wrestling or basketball or things like that. So, hopefully we can get back to, I don't think we'll see baseball players wearing the catchers will have a mask on, but they always,
they do. I would hope not, but
I would catch without a mask, but
yeah.
Although some people say I look like I've caught without a mask, Gary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You look like you've caught without a mask.
Taking a few foul tips off the face,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think you better have a mask going behind the plate, no question. So yeah.
Get the news figured out?
We're waiting on it there. It's a few minutes away. Okay.
So we got a van for 2 minutes.
Yeah, we got about 2 minutes here to go. So.
Yeah, again, we'll have the boys game tomorrow on WRGG, Greencastle and Shippensburg. Again, hey, it's a shame. It really is. And this is, these are the kind of games where it really is a shame that, fans can't come to the game because, again, you have, 2 of the top teams in the Colonial Division and, at least going by power rankings, 2 of the top teams in District 3 playing. And, this is the kind of game where you would have, a full gym. You would probably have people turned away at the door. And, it kind of takes you back to some of those Greencastle Shippensburg games from a few years ago, like the district playoff game. Greencastle won that game by a point. And then the next year, Greencastle went up to Shippensburg and won on a last-second bucket to defeat the Greyhounds. So, it's kind of sad because, like I said, tomorrow's game would be perfect for, people sitting shoulder to shoulder in a packed gym in Greencastle. And it's so loud you can't hear yourself think. But, it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, the Greencastle gym can get loud, as we well know.
Yeah.
It's small, and, that's the one advantage for the Blue Devils. You do have that home court advantage when you've got a full house.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's just a shame that they can't have a full sellout crowd and because it's fun. I mean, those are the kind of games you have a lot of fun at.
Oh, it is. Yeah, those are the best. Yeah. Those are the best. And Greencastle and Shippensburg have had a lot of battles here in recent years. Back not necessarily the last couple of years with Greencastle down, but I mean, both in the regular season and the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you had that streak. I think Shippensburg won 3 Colonial Division titles in a row. Then Greencastle won 2. And I think Greencastle, they went 3. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like over a 3-year period. Greencastle lost only 3 games in the Colonial Division over a 3-year period, and all 3 of those were to Shippensburg.
Yeah, right.
So those 2 teams. And like I said, the first round district playoff game 3 or 4 years ago, and Greencastle won. It was just back and forth the entire second half, and Greencastle won it at the end. And it's a great rivalry. Like you said, the past couple years have been Shippensburg dominant, but hopefully tomorrow Greencastle can come out and give them a game.
Yep, it ceases to become a rivalry when it's not competitive.
Yeah, when you're losing by 30 points, it's kind of hard to call it a rivalry.
Right, yeah. Hey, we're going to take a break. NBC News at 8 o'clock. Ed Gottwals will join John and I when we come back on 93.7 FM WRGG.
Broadcasting from the Wade Lynn Studios, we are WRGG LP Greencastle.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. More than a dozen states are still playing catch-up when it comes to coronavirus vaccines. The CDC says 16 states have yet to administer at least 50% of the shots they've received, but the health agency noted Thursday the country as a whole has administered roughly 54% of the more than 48 million distributed doses. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's office is pushing back on today's report alleging coronavirus data was misrepresented. James Flippin reported reports.
Attorney General Tish James put out a report alleging the state's number of dead due to coronavirus in nursing homes is significantly higher than the state's official number. New York Health Commissioner Dr. Howard Zucker taking issue with that, saying the state never failed to report coronavirus deaths, but rather they base qualifications off where the patient dies, meaning a hospital death is a hospital death. Dr. Zucker also argues nursing homes were already riddled with COVID-19 prior to when Cuomo ordered that all nursing homes must accept patients who tested positive, an order that was since reversed.
Renters in California struggling to pay will now be getting 5 more months of relief. State lawmakers approved a bill allowing the partial eviction moratorium to last through the end of June, as well as the creation of a program to dish out over $2.6 billion in rental assistance provided by the federal government. The White House is sidestepping questions about stock market volatility after GameStop shares soared yesterday, causing big losses for hedge funds.
He's briefed by his economic team frequently, but I don't have anything more to read out for you.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki referred reporters to the Securities and Exchange Commission statement that the situation is under review. President Biden's pick to lead the Department of Homeland Security is one step closer to getting started. The Senate voted Thursday to end a Republican filibuster that was holding up the confirmation vote of Alejandro Mayorkas. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
For more than 3 decades, Mikey's Ice Cream, a proud supporter of WRGG, has been a local favorite. For a delicious sandwich, a quick tasty snack, or a refreshing drink, and your favorite flavor of ice cream will taste better in a Mikey's homemade waffle cone. With a relaxed family atmosphere, Mikey's Ice Cream and Greencastle Gift Shop is conveniently located at 179 South Antrim Way, Greencastle.
Do you need that DJ for all occasions? Weddings, parties, corporate events? Scott Douglas is your man. He has the experience to make your event a special one. Contact Scott at 717-360-7429 for all your DJ needs. That's Scott Douglas at 717-360-7429. A DJ for all occasions.
WRGG's mission statement is serving community in support of education, the arts, and athletic excellence through quality FM radio broadcasting. On June 14th, 2020, WRGG proudly celebrated its 4th anniversary, fulfilling that commitment to the Greencastle Antrim community and beyond. For those who have shared your financial support over the years, we say thank you. For those that have considered supporting your community radio station but have not yet made a contribution, we encourage you to make that fully tax-deductible donation today. You may stop by the station in person or mail a check to 113 South Carlisle Street, Greencastle, Pennsylvania 17225. Contributions may also be made by PayPal. Contributions of any amount are greatly appreciated.
WRGG weather. Now the weather forecast for WRGG. Clear skies, temperatures in the low 20s overnight. Partly cloudy on Friday, the high 30. Clear skies Friday night, middle teens. Saturday mostly sunny, the high 32. Increasing clouds Saturday night, the low 21. Snow developing late Sunday, less than 2 inches of accumulation, the high 32. For WRGG, I'm nowcast meteorologist Chad Merrill.
And welcome back to Chalk Talk for this Thursday night, as we are joined by Ed Gottwals. Good evening, Ed.
How you doing, guys?
Hey, great. Yeah. And, I'm just happy we're playing sports again, Ed. Honestly, we've had, and we have a lot coming up. And hey, next week, Chambersburg, we've got a busy week with activities at the high school, including games in both gyms one night, and wrestling and a basketball game another. So I think I counted 7. 7 different.
And the wrestling tournament's all day. So Saturday anyway.
Yeah, it starts at 9 a.m. Yeah. Correct. Right. Yeah, 9 a.m. start, and it's Chambersburg duels. How many teams participate in this? Do you have any?
There are 5 schools, so each team will wrestle 4 times, but they're going to have 5 rounds. So one team will be sitting out each round, and I think they have Big Spring, Shippensburg, Redland, and Hempfield coming in. And Hempfield is, I think, ranked like third in the district now, so that'll be a big match there.
And that's all going to take place in the auxiliary gym at Chambersburg. So, yeah, that's that should be a long day, but a very interesting day. And at least they had an opportunity. It lost the Trojan Wars this year, so they're getting in naturally a much smaller tournament, but they're able to get that off on next Saturday.
Yeah, and the difference is they're doing dual meet tournaments this year instead of individual tournaments. They were already at one at Gettysburg, and then they have one this weekend at Spring Grove. Then they have their own, and that's what every team's doing, because I guess they were reduced to 18 competitions, and so they're doing all dual meets instead of individual stuff this year.
Oh, okay.
Until they get to the postseason.
Yeah, and then the individual starts. So yeah. And the Chambersburg wrestling team, they were in Gettysburg last night, and that Gettysburg seems to be very good.
They are. They haven't lost since. Let's see. They were undefeated the whole way through districts last year because they were the District 3 champs. So I guess they lost it in the state tournament last year. But as far as regular season, they haven't lost since the 2019 season. Wow. So they've got a good program put together.
Yep, they do. And Chambersburg, and that's the second time they went against Gettysburg this year.
Yeah, they wrestled them in the Gettysburg Duels tournament too.
Yeah,
that's not surprising for this year. I've seen several times that teams are wrestling each other twice. It's just a matter of it's hard to get your schedule together the way you want it. So in some cases you take what you can get, and if that means wrestling somebody else twice, most teams are going to do that.
Yeah, just to get it in, absolutely. Yep. We're seeing a lot of different things this year. There's no question. So, and whatever it takes in this year, it's exactly. You've got to be flexible for sure. So yeah. And now, we seen what I thought was a very good basketball game last night between the Chambersburg Lady Trojans and Carlisle. The Trojans now with 2 wins on the season, but wow, what a tight ball game right down to the end.
Yeah, I kind of figured it'd be close, and it seemed like both teams had little streaks here and there, but once Chambersburg got ahead in the third quarter, they were able to stay ahead the whole time. I guess Carlisle got it down to 3 points one time, but every time they made a run, Chambersburg came back with a run of their own, so they were able to hold them off.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the biggest lead of the night may have been 9 points by Chambersburg because
sounds right. Yes.
Yeah, because it was just it seemed so close, within a few points the entire game, from start to finish. And the girls lost Monday night at Harrisburg. They did defeat CD East last Friday, and I'm looking. They play Altoona tomorrow night, who lost by 2 points to Bishop McDevitt last night. So
yeah, I saw that tape of the game-winning shot. Apparently, that girl from McDevitt has had 2 game-winning shots this week.
Is that right? Oh,
that's crazy. Yeah, and I think she's a Shippensburg University recruit too. I think I saw that.
Oh wow! So what, they beat them on the last second shot? Is that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Last night it was. I don't know how much time. I don't really know the details of either one. I just I guess the caption I saw yesterday said that's her second one in a week.
Oh,
that's pretty impressive.
Yes, I would say that's something you don't have the opportunity to do that often, let alone
convert it.
Convert it not once, John, but twice. Yeah.
I remember that one girl from Notre Dame that won like the national semifinals and then the championship game on last second shots.
Yeah,
but that's really rare.
Yeah, it is. And that tells me Altoona's pretty good this year. I think they've only lost 1 game to Central Dauphin and have handled the rest of their schedule very handedly.
Yeah, I think they're probably considered the third best team in the league behind CD and CV.
Yeah.
So that'll definitely be a test for Chambersburg.
Yes, it will. Tomorrow night. So, and the Chambersburg boys have been off here for the last 10 days or so. I guess it'll be close to 2 weeks by the time.
Yeah, their last game was on the 19th.
Yeah, right. We're 8 days in, and they're not scheduled to play again till Tuesday, I think. And,
right. And I did look on the schedule. I did not see any of those games that were. There's 4 games that were postponed. I haven't seen makeup dates on any of those yet.
Yeah, I have. So that's they're going to have a busy schedule here in February. The season's supposed to end. It's the 27th, John, for the last.
I want to say it's that weekend. I'm not sure if it's the Friday or the Saturday, but
26th. Well, yeah, Chambersburg has a game on the 26th, but I think it is the 27th.
Yeah. So and a lot of the teams are going to want to. Going to want to get these games in by February 27th, although you still have another month that you can technically play, but for district purposes, it's right. Especially if you have a chance. But the Chambersburg boys have not come up with a win yet. So 0-4 it is right now?
Yeah, and during this time they're off, they're not allowed to practice either.
So, that's right. Yeah. If you can't.
So. I mean, it's definitely they've had some tough breaks this year, and this is not going to help them any. That's for sure.
So, is there practice before you play the first game, Ed? How does that work?
I think once you've gotten your required practices at the beginning of the season, I think if you have a break like this, I think you can come right back. Although it might be you have to practice once. And if that's the case, they would be able to do that on Monday.
Okay. John had said he thought it was 4.
I remember at the beginning, before they got started teams, even if you got the minimum required practice, you still had to practice 4 times. I don't know what it is now, but I know at one point I had seen something where you had to get 4 practices in coming.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that applies since that delays happened in December.
Okay, so now they're into the season.
All the teams that came back that already had their early practices in, all they had to do was 4.
Right.
But I'm not sure I don't think that carries over into the actual regular season if you have a delay.
Okay, so now that you've played.
Honestly, I don't know for a fact. But I'm pretty sure it's not 4. It might be 1, but not sure.
Well, that's good if they can just, one practice or, and then get right back into it. That'd be nice.
Yeah, to get right back into it. And Ed, as I was looking over things today, there's a lot of schools that have missed a lot of games here across, the Mid Penn. I noticed East Pennsboro's only played 1 game. You have Harrisburg, who has only played 2. These were legitimate things because it had the postponements on there. So yeah,
right. It's just such a. I mean, literally, I think athletic directors are looking at it like any game we get in is a good one.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because there's so much stuff going around. Just getting games played is the and you can't look too far ahead. Because you never know when it's going to pop up. So, I know there are some schools that have been. Carlisle didn't get I know they had to wait for a while too to get started.
Yeah.
So it's going to be and here, a school like East Pennsboro, they could have somebody on the schedule, and then that other school may have an issue, and then East Pennsboro loses them too, even if they're back.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
That's what a lot of it was because you're playing schools that you've missed that can't play, and then it could really add up if you have it, and then you run into a stretch of schools, right after that or before that you can't play. So it's and
then you throw in possible postponements for weather too.
Yes.
And you can see how any game is extremely important just to get in.
It is. You don't want to miss that opportunity. So
right.
Yeah. No, John and I were talking, and a strange announcement came in here this afternoon that the Greencastle West Perry game was canceled, not postponed, canceled, the boys' game for February the 9th. And, has West Perry shut down the program or any?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, but how often do you see a Colonial or a team within your division? That's always says postponed. It does not say canceled.
Yeah. I'm just sniffing around here on their Twitter feed. I don't see anything there on West Perry's.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. That is kind of interesting that they would cancel one later in the season like that too.
Yes, this far in advance. and it's called cancel and not postpone.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is that word gets used in the wrong way sometimes. A lot of times people think they're talking cancellation. What they really mean is postponement.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But still, yeah. If they said it's canceled and they meant it canceled, then that is weird.
Yeah, it's if in fact it turns out that way, I mean, West Perry has had it rough. They've they lost like 69-14, some ridiculous score, and that's been pretty much their scores throughout the year. So
yeah, actually, the girls' team's had a rough year too.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, the wrestling team's pretty good. So
yeah. It's it is, and also we've seen twice. Ed, the last two girls' home games, their opponents were unable to field a JV team. You have a lot of players also that have dropped out.
Yeah, I think that's affected certain schools different ways. But yeah, we looked at Central Dauphin East roster, and they only had 6 girls listed for JV. So, and I didn't get a chance to check to see if any of those were actually on the varsity roster either, but. Definitely with them it was lacking numbers, and I guess with Carlisle it was the same thing. But I don't know whether they've lost some or whether they just. I think in Carlisle's case they knew ahead of time they weren't going to have a JV team. So I think it's just strictly numbers there.
Yeah.
CD East might have had enough and then lost some.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and this is unusual at the high school level, of course.
In basketball, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, to see this. Yeah, not having enough. For a J. In fact, I don't ever recall a time that's happened before. I guess it has, but I don't.
I remember some situations where there were, I guess, enough injuries that they just felt like they didn't really have enough to, to do both teams. But it's pretty rare, I would say. But then again, it's this year, so
yep, right.
Anything goes.
Yeah. Believe me, anything goes. And I always think about all these schedules being perfectly laid out 2 years in advance. And here we are, scheduling games for the next day.
Right.
Yeah, it's just totally different. Hey, come play you tomorrow. Yeah, it's different the whole way around. Hopefully, this is coming to an end soon. I hope. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Is right, but it is. Greencastle, 2 pretty big basketball games tomorrow night, both the boys and the girls. The Greencastle plays the Ship boys at home tomorrow night, and interestingly enough, John and I discussed this. Shippensburg and Greencastle, the number 2-3 teams right now in 5A. In fact, the top 3 schools in 5A are all Colonial Division: Northern York, Shippensburg, and Greencastle.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that says a lot about the Colonial Division here.
It does.
Yeah. I mean, not only ranked, but 1, 2, 3, and you go.
Big Spring is 8th,
and Big Spring is 8th. That's 4 of the top 8. But
yeah. That should be an interesting game Friday. At a glance, it looks to me like Greencastle does not have a good matchup with Shippensburg, because I think Ship is stronger inside, even though they have a big man that's out. That's where Greencastle is going to have to play well, especially on defense, and then hope they're hitting from the outside. I think that might be the way they have to go. But I just think Ship is a tough matchup. I think Northern was too, for that matter. But just matchup wise, I think it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. It's just it's one of those things where Greencastle's going to have to bring their A game, and I hope Shippensburg has a little bit of an off night. I think we all agree talent wise, Shippensburg is probably the better team, but the better team doesn't always win.
True.
This is a case where if you'd asked me last year, does Greencastle have a chance to beat Shippensburg, I'd have very quickly said no. This year, they got a shot, so it's better than nothing.
One thing coaches said is they've been playing well in close games,
right?
And they've had enough of those. They've got some experience at them, so that could be a factor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they had a close one against Boiling Springs on Tuesday. So, it was a nice one. had a lead, kind of let Boiling Springs sneak back into it, and but yeah, they were able to knock a key free throw, and it was like 5 seconds left to put it away. But yeah, good win.
Yeah, it indeed was. Now, these were the kind of games that the Blue Devils have lost the last couple of years. Close.
True.
Yeah.
They've lost a lot the past couple of years.
Yeah, but I'm also talking close games. There's been a few close.
Yeah.
But that's experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this Greencastle team will come in tomorrow night, very confident. That's the one thing that I think this team is doing this year. They're learning how to win. And the confidence level is going to be at an all-time high. And I think maybe last year, they probably wouldn't have admitted it, but I think they may have felt that they didn't have much of a chance to beat teams like Northern and Shippensburg last year. But these kids are going to come into this game tomorrow night fully believing that they can beat Shippensburg. And like we said, they hung with Northern for a quarter. For a quarter or two tomorrow night. You get into the second.
Yep. I did watch the second half of that Boiling Springs games, and the one thing I would say is if they have a lead against Shippensburg, I hope they don't take those quick shots like they were the other night.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
There were a couple times they put it up as soon as they got down the court. I'm going, whoa, here, throw the clock.
Yeah, there's no 10-second shot clock in high school basketball.
A couple times I don't think it even got to 10.
Yeah, probably not.
And you want to. That's when you don't want to take a quick shot. Yeah, I was watching. Yeah,
and you could hear it in the stands. You could hear a few people saying, hold the ball, and you certainly heard myself and Jason Hyman saying that. So when you have the lead in the final couple minutes of the game, the clock is your friend. Remember that.
Yeah, because the more you put it up there. The more the more the odds are that something just may happen.
Yeah, and the great thing about basketball is when you have possession of the ball, the other team can't score. So, let's just kind of remember that. Remember that.
That is, and they got away with it, and
they won. That's all that matters. Take the win any way you can get it.
Yeah, but had it not turned out that way, Big Spring Boiling Springs was in the position to tie it there, weren't they? Or close? Did they get that far?
They got it to within 3.
Yes, that's
on a made shot. Greencastle inbounded, Boiling Springs fouled, and Greencastle at the front end of a 1-on-1 to put them up 4.
Yeah.
And that was. I think it was like 3 seconds ago in the game, and that was the game. Once Greencastle was up by 4, they had a 2-possession game with under 5 seconds. That was it. So, but I think Greencastle, I think they led by 10 or 11 with like 3 or 4 minutes to go. So I mean, they were in control of the game, and like Ed said, they took a couple of shots, forced up a couple of early shots. Maybe they shouldn't. They missed a couple of front end to 1-on-1s. The last couple minutes weren't pretty, but again, hey, you win. That's all that matters.
Yep. Yeah, that's what counts in the end.
That's all that matters.
Yep, there's no question.
No one remembers what the rest of the game looks like. Oh, they see that W beside your name. You're good to go.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, so, that should be a great matchup tomorrow night. Likewise, on the girls' side in Shippensburg tomorrow night, Greencastle currently ranked number 2, Shippensburg number 3. They're both behind Gettysburg, who is 7-0, and that should be a real great game too tomorrow at Ship.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to see how that turns out. I mean, Greencastle probably really hasn't even been challenged this year. Maybe by Northern the first time. They still won by like 15 or 16 points, I think. But Shippensburg seems to be the one team that may be able to hang with Greencastle because they've got a pretty good scorer there in Tori Rumball, and Greencastle's defense will have to account for her. But I tell you, if Sage Wilhide's shooting like she has been, there's some instant points right there for Greencastle. She's really been knocking down the threes.
Yeah, what did we say 75% one game, 8 to 12?
Yeah, she was 8 for 12. That's just crazy.
Yeah. You don't shoot 75% from 3-point range.
Right.
Actually, 8 of 12 is 66.7%.
Well, right. You're right. Yeah, it is.
We may have some math students out there listening. We don't want
to. But you're right. I should have known that. Yeah.
I'm thinking, wait.
Right. 12,
that's it.
Yes, it is.
9 to 12 would have been 75.
I'm usually pretty good at math, but I'm not
we don't want to confuse the youngsters.
Yeah, right. It was 2/3. Well, let's just say that's pretty good, too.
I think most players will take 2/3 for the
right? Take 2/3. Yeah.
That's still pretty good shooting.
Yes, it is. And at Shippensburg, they played Gettysburg, a week or a little, maybe 10 days ago. And Ship had a chance to win that game. With Shippensburg, they were, in fact, they led, throughout part of the game. And at the end, they left a getaway and missed some shots. And Gettysburg won, but they played well with Gettysburg, who is undefeated.
Yeah, that's a pretty good result for Ship there to come that close. I would have probably not thought they were quite that good before that, but that's a good score. That's why I think it's going to be a really good game with Greencastle. Unless Greencastle's better than I think they are, which I know they're pretty good, but we'll see. They are. Yeah, definitely pretty good. But like you said, they haven't been challenged a lot yet. So, and it looks like Shippensburg, Greencastle, the 1-2, one way or the other, the top two teams in the division. It looks that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Big Spring has. They're doing okay. I know they got one pretty good scorer, but I don't think they're quite team-wise up to that level. But still some games to play yet for sure.
Yes, there are quite a few. They got to go around the league again here, so it's. But we'll see. But both the boys and girls. What were we? 10-1, John, between the two, or 11-1?
I think so. Yeah, 10-1, 11-1, something like that.
Yeah, to start. So that's a pretty good start. Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, we might not be very good at math, but we do know that 11-1.
Right, 11-1 is good, right?
Exactly.
Yes, so indeed it was. So we'll look forward to that tomorrow night. Two big games. Unfortunately, nobody can go to see them. So yeah.
But they'll be both on
Mid Penn Broadcasting. Yeah, they will both be on Mid Penn Broadcasting tomorrow night. Yes, with
you have choices then.
Yeah, there are choices indeed. It's Mid Penn. John and Jason will be in Greencastle, and Mike Monadoro and Levi Kressler.
The A team in Shippensburg.
Yeah, right. Bringing out Mike and Levi in Chambersburg to bring you the girls' game. So. It should be an interesting night.
Hey, get your phone, get your iPad, put them side by side, and you can watch both games.
Well,
or put them on your TV.
Yeah, very true. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
Yes, just watch both of them. Well, Ed, hey, thanks for joining us here tonight, and we will talk to you soon. We'll talk to you here next week. A lot of, as we mentioned, a lot going on at Cassius next week.
Yeah, we ought to go and pitch a tent there, Gary.
Well, yeah, you're right. Might as well. I'm going to live there. We're going to live there for most of the week.
Yeah.
And maybe and all day that Saturday. So yeah.
It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, it is. Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. So Ed Gottwall's joining us, and
the legend.
Indeed, the legend, and currently with the sports page and Mid Penn Broadcasting, and as after those 40-plus years at the Public Opinion, longtime sports writer and broadcaster, also in this area.
A second career now. He's multitasking.
And him and Greg Hoover worked Chambersburg Trojan football for many years. So,
okay.
On the radio, and on WCHA. Yes.
So this whole thing that he's doing now is just not. He's been doing this for years now. I just thought the whole radio thing for him was relatively new.
Well, he's been. He's quite a long time.
A Renaissance man.
Broadcaster, sports writer.
Does it all.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are going to take a break and be back with our final segment of Chalk Talk on 93.7 FM, WRGG LP, Greencastle.
NBA NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. Award-winning actress Cicely Tyson is dead. Her manager announced she died Thursday afternoon. Tyson's memoir, Just As I Am, was released just days ago. The head of U.S. Capitol Police wants permanent fencing to remain around the building at all times following the storming by Trump supporters earlier this month. Acting Chief Yogananda Pittman says there's no question the building needs a security upgrade and the ability to quickly deploy backup forces if needed. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser agrees the extra security is still needed. Former President Donald Trump says his meeting with House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy went very well and was cordial. Tom Roberts has the details.
A statement says the two discussed the GOP taking back the House in 2022. The statement claims Trump's popularity has never been stronger, and his endorsement means more today than perhaps any endorsement at any time.
Brian Shook, NBC News Radio.
Tired of that boring old logo? Want that new look? Contact C. Ely Signs and Graphics today. 310 West Main Street in Waynesboro. Screen printing and embroidery. Also, vehicle wraps, LED signs, autographics, logo design, banners, carved wood signs, trade show displays, business cards, and advertising packages. And so much more. You may call Chad at 717-762-9404. Visit the website at ceelysigns.com. That's spelled C-ELYSIGNS.com.
See Ely Sign and Graphics supporting the programming at WRGG.
For more than 3 decades, Mikey's Ice Cream, a proud supporter of WRGG, has been a local favorite. For a delicious sandwich, a quick tasty snack, or a refreshing drink, and your favorite flavor of ice cream will taste better in a Mikey's homemade waffle cone. With a relaxed family atmosphere, Mikey's Ice Cream and Green Cow Gift Shop is conveniently located at 179 South Antrim Way, Greencastle.
WRGG weather.
Now the weather forecast for WRGG. Clear skies, temperatures in the low 20s overnight. Partly cloudy on Friday, the high 30. Clear skies Friday night, middle teens. Saturday mostly sunny, the high 32. Increasing clouds Saturday night, the low 21. Snow developing late Sunday, less than 2 inches of accumulation, the high 32. For WRGG, I'm nowcast meteorologist Chad Merrill.
93.7.
WRGG, welcome back to Chalk Talk for this Thursday night. Gary Klein with John Freeman as the talking high school sports tomorrow night. Greencastle and Shippensburg, both boys and girls games. Here on WRGG, it'll be the boys' game, and the girls' game and the boys' game will be on Mid Penn Broadcasting, live streaming tomorrow night, 7:30 game time for the varsity for both games. So see how it works tomorrow with the Blue Devils and Shippensburg Greyhounds.
Yeah, either way, it should be 2 really good games.
Yeah.
The boys and the girls. Again, like we said, you have, a very rare situation where you have both, all 4 teams ranked in the top 3 in District 3. The boys, Chip boys 2, Greencastle boys 3, and then reverse it on the girls' side. So, should be 2 great games. Get a chance to see them if you're at home. Again, unfortunately, you can't go to the game and see it live, but we'll certainly do the best we can to bring you a outstanding broadcast experience from Greencastle tomorrow night.
Okay, sounds great. And I do miss fans in the gym.
It does take a long way.
It does. It indeed does. And hopefully, I don't know. Who knows by March and playoff time whether any additional fans will be permitted. I kind of doubt it.
Probably not. I mean, we may start. It seems like, again, without getting into the whole COVID political stuff, because you can hear that anywhere else, but it seems like anytime we take a step forward, take 2 steps back, or maybe a step forward, half a step back. So, I'm thinking maybe fall. Maybe we can start to see some fans being allowed, fans other than just parents. I know with Greencastle, each player, each cheerleader is allowed 2 tickets, so 2 family members can come into the game, and no visiting fans are allowed. But hopefully, cross your fingers. Hopefully by the fall we can get back to full stadiums and loud stadiums, because that's what high school sports is about.
Yeah, right. Let's hope so, and hopefully we can have some outdoors at some baseball and softball. That's and that's going to be hard to limit at a lot of places.
I mean, we'll see what the PIAA says. I'm sure that'll be on their agenda here, probably in their March meeting. But again, those are track and field, baseball, softball, kind of social distancing sports. You have 9 people on a baseball diamond, but there's a lot of space out there. So I guess when you get a runner on first, if he's being held on first base, you get some close contact. But other than that,
Yeah, right, exactly. Not even coming.
And like we said, the catcher's already wearing a mask, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's got. Yep, and exactly. That's standard procedure. Nothing new there. So
we'll just keep our fingers crossed and. We'll see. Hopefully we can have people in the stands soon.
Yep. And, we'll switch here and talk a little bit about football. So,
still playing that?
2 teams are still playing that. John, I want somebody to explain to me the infatuation with the 2-point play. We saw it, Buffalo doing it. When they missed, they're down by 3 scores instead of 2 late in the fourth quarter. They're down by 17 instead of 16. We saw it in the previous game that day. There was one other really. Was that in the Tampa Bay? I remember the Buffalo specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the?
Well, a couple things in play. The switch, but when they moved the 1-point try back from, kicking from the 2-yard line back to the 15, it added a little bit more difficulty to that. It used to be, when you kicked the extra point, it was automatic. It was like a 99% success rate. Now they moved it back. I think it's down to around like 93, 94%. So it's still, they make a lot more than they miss, but. There, as far as whether to go for 1, go for 2, I mean, there are mathematical formulas that have been run where you can take, information, take the data, situations in games, scores, whatnot, and, you can run statistical analyses to come up with what's the best thing to do here, at certain points of the game and certain scores. So, that's what drives a lot of teams now.
But I don't see any analytics that's going to tell you in the fourth quarter to go for 2 points to put you down by 3 scores instead of 2.
Well, and I forget what it was. I think it was, I forget what game it was, but somebody was down by 12. It might have been the Buffalo Kansas City game. They were down by 12 and kicked the field goal. It's like, well, you're down 9, you're still down 2 scores. So, maybe you should have gone for it, tried to score the touchdown. There's a lot of people smarter than I that come up with these things, so it's kind of hard for me to question them. But
I just think it's misused. It makes no sense. A lot of it. Now you had also Green Bay. That was the other one on Sunday that went for the 2-point play. Man, I can't remember. I thought, what in the world is going on? And they missed it. Were they down? They fell down by 9 or something. I forget what the case was, but it was a case that did not, that you would have never dreamed of going for the 2-point play. Yeah.
Well, that Green Bay-Tampa game, Green Bay had their own set of issues on several plays. First of all, when you let up a 39-yard touchdown pass on the final play of the first half,
yes,
the only thing Tampa can do is throw it to the end zone.
Yes, I agree.
You have a man coverage and no safety over the top, and there's 6 seconds to go in the half. Tampa Bay's out of timeouts. They can do one of 2 things. They can either throw a little 3 or 4 yard out and try and get a little bit closer for the field goal, or they can throw to the end zone. So you would think, we'll let them complete a short 4 or 5 yard pass and take our chances on the field goal. What we don't want to do is let them score a touchdown by throwing to the end zone. And that's exactly what Green Bay did.
And they did.
The other thing I think was kind of interesting in that game was Green Bay down. What were they down? They kicked the field goal late. Oh, they were down by 8. They were down 8 points.
That was another one.
Down 8 points in the fourth quarter. They had the 4th and 8 from the 8-yard line. Does it really matter whether you're down 5 or you're down 8 at that point? You know,
yeah.
You have someone like Aaron Rodgers, who is, you know, this year he's most likely going to be the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
You know, you win or die with him. I think instead of kicking the ball and hoping you can get a stop, because you know you're still down a score and you still need a touchdown. Even down 5, you still need a touchdown to not lose. So that was a bizarre call. And again, you know, I always say, you know, calls like that, you know, if they would have kicked the field goal, Tampa Bay would have got the ball back and fumbled, and Green Bay would have scored a touchdown and won. They might be saying, "Oh, what a genius call."
Yeah.
So you know, a lot of it comes down to what ends up in the result-oriented part of the decision. But yeah, that one kind of puzzled me when they decided to kick the field goal down 8 and late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But you know,
I know that was weird, and they were down 8 because they had went for 2 a couple of times and missed it. Yeah, where it would have made sense if it put you within a tie. So. But I agree. I have no, you know, and they never saw the ball again, which you knew was a big possibility,
especially with Tom Brady at quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, you're giving Brady the football and just giving it up to him and expect to get it back.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy you expect he's going to make a play, and he made the play.
And boy, did he, especially in that first half.
Yeah.
Here we go again with Tom Brady. Yeah.
What, 20 years in the league? This is his 14th Super Bowl?
I thought was it 11?
Or maybe it was his 10th.
Or 10th. I guess it's
Super
10th.
Bowl. Yeah, I think it's 10.
Wow.
He had played in 14 conference championship games.
Yeah,
That's where it came over. Yeah, this will be his 10th Super Bowl. I think he's won 6 already. So, yeah, he's done okay.
Yeah. Yes, he has, and very well may win another one before it's
Well, yeah, I mean he's won 6, been in 9 Super Bowls, won 6, and you know you look at the 2 Giants games they lost. There's some kind of crazy plays in there.
Yeah,
where he very easily could have have 8 Super Bowl rings. You know, he could very quickly be running out of fingers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely one for the thumb and one more.
That one for the thumb thing for a while.
Yeah.
Brady's looking to put rings on his toes coming up here before too awful long.
Yeah. It's amazing, though, how, 45 years old? And
43.
43. Yeah. I'm giving him,
He probably will play till he's 45. I mean, he's he can still play the game.
He's still performing well.
He's going to the Super Bowl, so
right. Yeah.
Much better than that.
You can't get much better. And also a Super Bowl where the home team is in the Super Bowl, and that's the first that's ever happened.
Yeah, there have been games where teams have played in their home market or home area, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
I know the Rams played at the Rose Bowl. I think it was Super Bowl 14. And then San Francisco, the 49ers, oh, goodness. I want to say it was Super Bowl 19. They played a game at Stanford Stadium, which is in Palo Alto, which is like a suburb of San Francisco.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that a team has actually played in their home stadium.
Yeah.
Not that it's really going to matter this year with limited numbers of fans. Yeah. And, I've heard some people say it might not be an advantage just because it's nice to get away from your family and friends and whatnot. You could have some distractions maybe. But, we'll see. Whoever wins the game a week from Sunday will certainly that would be the better situation. So
right. You're right.
If Kansas City goes in and blows them out, you say, well, you don't want to play the game at home. But if Tampa wins, playing at home is a good thing.
They shouldn't be bothered for a whole lot of tickets this year.
No, that shouldn't be a concern. Anyway, unless you're a first responder or a medical, the medical person, I guess they're allowing, was it 7,500, first responders and doctors, nurses, whatnot.
Yeah, and then 22,000 altogether.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and then again, my guess is there will be very few Tampa Bay fans of the lots of corporate bigwigs, and because that's usually who goes to the Super Bowl.
It is, and I'm not sure there's a whole lot of Tampa Bay fans to start with. To be honest,
I'm sure there's a lot more now than there was last year.
Yeah, but it's in that in Florida, there's so much of the population is from somewhere else, and it's and you see that in Miami too.
But when your team goes to the Super Bowl, they jump on the band.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And
I think one of the things I'm sure if you haven't already heard it this week, you'll probably hear it about 1 million times next week. You had the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
You had the Tampa Bay Devil Rays making it to the Tampa Bay Rays, making it to the World Series and just coming up a little short. Now you have the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. So Tampa Bay, City of Champions.
Yes, they are, and you can really say that. Now, you always hear this when it happens to the Red Sox and the Patriots, but
right.
I have not heard it mentioned with Tampa Bay.
I'm sure you'll hear it a lot.
This week, and they fell short in the series, but hey, to get there as that's
they're the American League champions, so that's a championship.
Right, exactly. And they are the City of Champions.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, the new City of Champions.
Yep. Sorry, Boston.
Before that, it was Pittsburgh.
When was Pittsburgh ever?
1979.
The Steelers and the Pirates.
Yeah, remember who did the Pirates beat that year in the World Series?
Well, it was the Orioles.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, Baltimore was too back in the early 70s with the Orioles winning the World Series, and the Colts won the Super Bowl in the same year.
That's true.
Yeah, the Pirates won in 79. I'm all too much aware.
And 71.
And 71. I'm all too much aware of that, John.
I'd have to bring that up every now and then. It's in my contract.
Yeah, right.
I have to give Gary a hard time about Pittsburgh beating Baltimore.
And that's about the only thing we can talk about right now, because I don't think we'll ever see a Orioles Pirates World Series and again in our lifetime.
I say you might, but we won't. Maybe we won't be around for it.
A lot's going to have to change for that to happen.
Boy, it's going to be a rough year.
Pittsburgh's still getting rid of.
They've traded Josh Bell, Musgrove, Jamison Tyone's gone. It's a rebuild. It's funny because the management in Pittsburgh won't use the word rebuild. I don't know if it's they're just afraid to use it because they're afraid they'll turn off fans or whatnot. But it's a rebuild. They're going to be not good for a couple of years, and then hopefully all these, they're compiling, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that hopefully they can develop them into serviceable major leaguers in 3-4 years, and maybe by 2024 they can be decent, I guess, is probably the best to hope for right now.
Well, but the rebuild, what are they rebuilding from? They've been in a rebuild for how many years?
Well, actually, not. I mean, depending on how you want to look at it. They had the 3 year. 13, 14, 15, they made the playoffs. 16, 17, 18, 19, they were respectable. They were decent. Around a 500 team. Maybe 5 or 6 games. One way or the other. Last year was just a nightmare. They went 19 and 41 in the abbreviated season, worst team in the majors, and they cleaned house after the 2018 season. Got rid of the manager, got rid of the GM, got rid of basically everybody with the exception of the owner. And now the house cleaning begins, and it's draft picks, and it's 18, 19-year-old prospects, and cross your fingers and hope for the best.
For your best in a few years.
Yeah.
Well, the Orioles are going through pretty much the same thing.
I think what they're doing, at least what Pittsburgh is doing now, is better than what they were doing in the past 3 or 4 years, where they were. They really didn't have the resources. They didn't have the money to go after the big name free agents, so they would go after like the B and C level free agents. And essentially, what they would do is they would put a team on the field, win 75 to 85 games, not be bad, not really be a playoff contender, just kind of be boring and average. At least now they've decided, what, we're going to do what Chicago did 10 years ago. We're going to do what Houston did 10 years ago. And kind of where Baltimore and Detroit are a little bit ahead of Pittsburgh in that process now. But it's just, we're going to get rid of everyone. We're going to sign as many young kids as we can. And, if we, get 30 or 40 prospects, hopefully we can develop a half dozen of them into, solid major league players and see what we can do.
Yeah. And it really is the best way to go. And, and like you said, the Pirates and the Orioles were guilty of that too.
Yeah.
And they just try to patch it up a little bit. You get these pitchers who had a great season 3 years ago. Yeah. They're hoping to rebound, and an outfielder that's been released, and and
really all you do is put a lot of 70 to 75 win teams on the field,
and that's it. Yeah. And that's usually what it is.
Yeah.
Yep, and
maybe you get lucky, catch lightning in a bottle, win 85 games, and kind of be on be that fringe playoff team. Maybe sneak in. And I haven't heard what the plan is this year. I don't think they've decided as far as what the playoff picture is going to be.
I heard yesterday it's going back to 10 teams, which I don't like. That's the one thing I hoped it would stay, was that 16-team format. But and also the National League will not have a DH this year.
Okay.
But also, we got to remember the basic agreement is up at the end of 2021.
True.
So that could be some bargaining chips.
Or a strike.
Exactly. Or a strike, or to avoid it.
Could lead to rule changes or a strike.
Yeah, right. And of course, the Players Association is all for the DH in the National League because it creates all those extra jobs.
Yeah, more players, more money, more jobs, more money.
More players, more money.
Makes sense.
With the expanded rosters and the expanded playoffs, too. I thought it was good because it gave, so many extra teams to keep at least something to root for and some interest, to get to the playoffs. And I know you had a sub-500 team with Miami, but
and you would in the future. I'm with you on this. I agree. It waters down the postseason. It means the best team might not always win the World Series, but again, it keeps more fan bases excited and into the season longer. Not only that, like I said before, that first or second day of the playoffs, when you had baseball from noon to midnight, just every 2 hours a game was starting. That was great. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, it's like the first day of March Madness, first 2 days of March Madness, where you have, if for college basketball fans, that's heaven.
Yeah.
When you have literally a game starting at noon and you just have games 16 games over a 12-hour period.
Yeah.
For a baseball fan, it was the same thing. It was great just to watch game after game, and especially with it being the playoffs where it mattered, and so it was great. I would, normally I'm not a fan of more teams because then teams get in that probably shouldn't, but now as I get older, I'm like, if I can get more baseball, sign me up. I'm on board.
Yeah, right, and it's I agree. It's. You have that, and you have the expanded playoffs, and I'd even be in favor of cutting the regular season to expand them. Because what do you have? I mean, in normal circumstances, the majority of the ballparks are 80-90% empty and non-contending teams the month of September. Tell me a Wednesday night in Pittsburgh or somewhere or Baltimore when your team's on course to lose 100 games. Yeah.
Well, even when Pittsburgh was decent, they not that.
Yeah, right. Well,
they did.
They have had the 10.
I will say this: in 2013 to 2015, when they were playoff, they did. They filled the stadium, but once they started losing again, they kind of went away. But I don't. One of the things I don't see them doing is cutting back the season, if for no other reason than fewer games, less dollars.
Less dollars,
and I don't think the players will go for that. I understand. I know the players aren't. May like their bodies may not like playing 162 games, but I think their wallets like playing 162 games.
Because they were adamant about getting a full season in this year.
Right. So and I think probably what you'll start to see more in Major League Baseball is what we see in the NBA with the rest days. You see, you may see players. You see a lot more players not playing, just taking 2 to 3 days off, 4 days off, maybe a day off a week or 2 days off a week, so they can stay fresh during the season. It seems to work in the NBA, so we'll see what happens in Major League. I mean, granted, I think. You can probably certainly make the case that basketball is a little more physically taxing on the body than baseball with the running and whatnot. But
right.
Still, you may see that in baseball a little bit more. Players taking healthy rest days, or at least more than we've seen in the past.
Indeed. But you mentioned about the players with the more money, but also additional playoff games generate more income too. Yeah. And more television income.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's and that seems to be the big thing right now. The television income or live streaming rights.
Right. Oh yeah, that's big money.
It's become huge. So
I guess we have to have Super Bowl picks for next week, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I was 1-1 again this weekend. And keep breaking even.
I was 2-0, I think.
Did you go with Tampa Bay?
I went with Tampa Bay.
You're the man.
I went with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I went with the favorites. I went with the chalk last week and came up 1-1.
Yeah,
missed out on Green Bay, but came back strong with the Chiefs.
With the Chiefs, I just find it hard to predict against Brady.
We'll see.
Yeah.
One more game to pull out.
Yep. So we have Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Can Kansas City win it 2 years in a row?
I think they will.
You think they will?
I think they will. We'll see. That means Tampa's going to win. So.
Oh, I'm going to go with Tampa in the upset.
All right. Well, it's a 3-point game, so not much of an upset.
Yeah, right. It's at the spread right now, 3.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, that would seem very logical.
Yeah. It should be a tight game either way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Kansas City has some injury issues on the offensive line, but
they do.
They still have Patrick Mahomes, who just you can't catch him. I mean,
you're right. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's no question.
It's hard to get a hand on the guy.
Yeah.
He'll run this way, run that way, throw it behind his back 50 yards, and hit Tyreek Hill in stride for a touchdown. So he can do it all.
Yeah, he is, and it's one of the great, along with him and Lamar Jackson, and Mahomes may have the edge right now. He's been in a couple of Super Bowls.
He does.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is an outstanding quarterback, but Mahomes, he has the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he's proved it. I mean, he's led his team to the Super Bowl the last 2 years,
and they probably should have been there 2 years ago if they wouldn't remember the championship game against New England against Tom Brady.
Yeah,
and in overtime, New England had like 3 straight 3rd and 10 situations that Kansas City couldn't get a stop. And,
yes.
And New England won the game in overtime. So so Kansas City's just that close to playing in 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
Super Bowl, yeah. Yep, it's been. And finally, Andy Reid, after all those good teams and not making it, with Philadelphia, he's there for the second time now.
Yep.
So,
Well, I think he was the coach the year Philly went to the Super Bowl and played Tampa one year.
Was he the coach?
I think he was.
I believe he was. Yeah, he was. He went that year, but he had so many misses. And he lost that year, too, I think. But he had so many misses. All with Donovan McNabb was there. It was like they were losing in the NFC Championship game.
They're definitely a good enough team. They should have went more than they did.
They did, yes, they were. They were very good back in that time. So we'll see. And what do we have? The virtual Pro Bowl this week?
I guess that's what they're doing.
Is that what they're doing?
I think.
What's the line on that, by the way?
I do not know that.
Or do we care, right?
I'm sure a lot of people will care, but I may watch, a couple of NFL players playing Madden. I don't know. It might be fun.
Yeah, right. It could. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let's put it this way. It can't be any worse than the Pro Bowl itself. So.
That's very true. That's a good point.
So,
that's an absolute good point. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be watchable.
Yeah, it is, and who knows? It may be. Yeah, it's probably better.
Yeah.
Then there's probably some Vegas odds somewhere.
I'm sure someone will.
Yeah, right.
If there's money to be made, someone will put a line on it.
Somebody will have a line. Yeah. And that's what they are. They're playing Madden. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but it's some sort of virtual Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And it should be. Yeah.
Hey, it looks like we're getting stared at through the glass, Gary. So we better get out of here.
Yeah, we will. We're going to be going to NBC News here in just a few moments, and then we will be back. It will be in the pit and basketball tomorrow night, as it's Greencastle and Shippensburg boys here on WRGG. And live streaming on Mid Penn Broadcasting, and the Greencastle girls will live stream on Mid Penn Broadcasting. Have a good night, everyone.
Broadcasting from the Wade Lynn Studios high above the broadcast house in downtown Greencastle. We are 93.7 WRGG LP Greencastle.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. More than a dozen states are still playing catch-up when it comes to coronavirus vaccines. Matt Mattinson has the details.
The CDC says 16 states have yet to administer at least 50% of the shots they've received. Those include Arizona, California, Illinois, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. But the health agency noted Thursday the country as a whole has administered roughly 54% of the more than 48 million distributed doses. About 4.3 1.3 million Americans have been given both shots. I'm Matt Mattinson.
The Pentagon isn't sure when it can start pulling American troops out of Afghanistan. Press Secretary John Kirby told reporters the Taliban hasn't met its commitments to follow through with a peace deal it signed with the U.S. last year. Kirby explained they're figuring out the best path forward for troop presence in the war-torn country. The deal included dropping the number of service members to 8,600 by last July and then have all foreign forces out by this May if other conditions were met. The White House is defending the slew of executive orders from President Biden in the past week.
Part of unifying the country is addressing the problems that the American people are facing and working to reach out to Democrats and Republicans to do exactly that.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters the new president vowed to take steps immediately to address the pain and suffering of the American people. Award-winning actress Cicely Tyson is dead. Her manager announced she died Thursday afternoon. She was 96. The FAA is temporarily grounding a regional carrier for American Airlines. PSA Airlines had to cancel 230 flights because of an inspection issue on almost all of its planes. The issue centers around its fleet of Bombardier CRJ planes, which the company said had to be removed from operation to complete a standard inspection. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.